Hello, how are you? We're at the Chinese New Year, which I always find is a happy thing. We're at the new moon in Aquarius, and the Chinese calendar and the years are a lunar cycle. So every year, if you want to know when Chinese New Year begins, you look for the new moon in Aquarius, which could happen. That's why the Chinese New Year changes anywhere from 20th of January, which could be the very first degree of Aquarius, up to the 20th of February, which is the last degree of Aquarius. So just a little fact. So we're going to take a look at the chart for this new moon, and then we're going to do readings for every sign as usual. And this time when I qualify our questions for each sign, I'm going to ask, how is the Chinese New Year of the yin metal ox going to work out for each sign? So let's just break that down for a second. The ox is like the equivalent of a Capricorn. It's like, think of an ox, the horns. So what do we know about that animal? It's super strong. It's very tenacious. It's very stubborn. It can plow the fields. It can butt heads. It can work so hard that it keeps things in order. It does not like to be rushed, and it likes its sensual pleasures. So this is a year of things calming down from last year, things being more sort of solid and secure than last year. And it's a time when we will move towards things that we want or things we need to do in a slow and steady wins the race kind of fashion. We will not want to be pressured or rushed, and we'll want to take our time and enjoy some of the sensual pleasures in life, meaning I want to wake up slowly and enjoy my coffee. I don't want to bounce out of bed and feel frantic that I have to work right away. Or I'm going to go for more walks, and I'm going to breathe in the fresh air and enjoy the birds. I'm going to enjoy cooking my meal. I'm going to enjoy my bath. I'm going to enjoy reading my book. Very physical sensation, sensuality, earth. Because the ox is typically an earth-related animal. However, this is where it gets interesting. We are in a metal year. How do we know that? Any year that ends in a 0 or a 1 is a metal year. So 2020 was a metal year as well. And the 0 is the yang, or the masculine, and the 1 is the yin. And yin is the feminine energy of the metal. So let's think about metaphors to help you understand the energy. Last year, yang metal, so masculine energy metal. So a metaphor for that would be like a giant bridge, like a train bridge, or like a big drawbridge like the San Francisco Bridge or something. It's solid steel girders, metal. It can carry anything. It's going to last for who knows how many years, maybe 100 years, 200 years. It's hard for anything to tamper with metal. You have to heat metal extremely for it to break or bend. It can withstand water, and only over time the water can create rust. Otherwise, nothing else can touch metal. It's resilient, which is sort of a weird metaphor for last year, given everything that happened with the pandemic, but we sure needed to be strong last year. So what is a metaphor for yin metal? Well, that would be more like the jewelry on my earrings, little hinges on the glasses, a chain around your neck. Metal that is more pliable. So it's still metal, it's still strong, it can still withstand a lot, but now it's more gentle and bendable. So this year, if you think about it as like slow and steady sculpture, sort of like somebody taking their time making a ring. That's a nice image. So let's take a look now first at the chart And then we're going to take a look at the cards, and then we're going to read for how your Chinese New Year will be. So it's the first time I'm looking at the chart. So I like to do things. If you follow me, you realize I like to do things. I like to forecast while we're in the energy. So I do it at the last minute, right when we're on the moon, because I like to feel as close as possible to that moon to forecast what the energy is. Also, I like to do the reading of the chart as raw and fresh and intuitively as I can as well. So I'm just looking at this chart, and we have a cluster of planets in Aquarius. We call that a stellium. And this, we haven't seen a stellium of Aquarian planets like this, I believe, since 1962. And this is where the song, "This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius," that song came from that stellium of planets in Aquarius. When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars. Yeah. So right now we have the sun, the new moon, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, all in Aquarius. And 6 planets in one sign is usually very rare. So it's going to super activate this Aquarian age, the Aquarian energy. So if you don't understand what Aquarius energy is, we need to, because wherever it is in your own chart, it's going to super activate that area. If you are Aquarius rising and you have 6 planets on your first house, your rising sign, you're definitely going to be thinking about your image, your body, reinventing how you come across to people, curious how people see you, changing the way you do your hair, changing the way your clothes are. Maybe you're reinventing your self-image in some other way. Maybe physical health problems could be a part of that if it's on your rising sign, because it's such a cluster, it's hard to say which planet will affect you the most. It definitely charges up your energy to have so many planets. It's hard to say unless you see an individual person's chart. Does it energize them? Does it bring them fortune? Or does it bring them hardship? We don't know. So if you have it in your first house, Aquarius rising, you could suddenly have joint aches and pains. You could suddenly have like a giant zit on your nose. I don't know. It's something that plays out on your physical body, on your image that you project to the world, and it shows. So hopefully, if for you Aquarius risings out there, you're just having fun with it. Maybe you do want to dye your hair blue. Aquarius rising would do that. You know, they would wear leather to a party that you're supposed to have a tux. They would break the rules. They're rebels. They like to rebel. They like to break the rules. And sometimes they do it in a outright destructive way. And other times, most of the time, they do it in a way that it's just enough to piss people off. It's just enough to say, hey, you know, I don't do things the way you do, or yeah, I won't play along with your rules. So if you want to connect with all of this Aquarian energy, think about where do you feel the need to break free and break the rules? And how can you do that in a way that is fun and that liberates yourself or liberates others or makes a point in a good way? And try not to get involved in outright hostile standoff kind of stuff, because Aquarius can do that as well. They can dig their heels down and be the most stubborn people you'll ever meet, because they believe what they believe. That's it. That's all. You're not going to convince them. They are open-minded, definitely. While they're learning about something or learning about you or something new, they're extremely open-minded and absorbent, and they're trying to take everything in and process everything. But at some point, they're going to decide, oh, well, this is what that is, and this is where that fits. And they lock and load. That's it. You can't change their mind after that. So you might be doing that too with this energy of the new moon. You might suddenly be assessing and learning and absorbing and ready to just take something all in. You might feel pressure to open your mind and expand your sense of awareness of others, tolerance of others. Certainly that's everywhere in the news. I find we're at a time where there's more and more people, more and more groups, whether that's an interest group, whether that's about sexuality, whether that's about race, whether that's, somebody's cause. Or I find we're at a time when, we're used to hearing about a lot of variety of things that people face, but now people seem to be standing up with more of a sense of, my voice has every right to be equal to your voice. My needs have every right to be equal to your needs, you know? And this is quite revolutionary when you come out of all the years of Capricorn, where there's a dominant sort of presence, patriarch, king, government, and everything trickles down from the bottom, or it's supposed to. It doesn't, but there's that trickle down thing of I'm on top and I will provide for you. But what we've seen, of course, is corporations and people in power going, I'm on top and I will keep it for myself. And then Aquarius comes in and rises up and rebels and says, hey, excuse me. So we see that level of rebelling as well. And we see also people breaking free and thinking of and presenting us new ways to live, new ways to see money, new ways to see housing, new ways to find ways to work online, live online. We'll live one place part-time and another place another. Live out of a van. Renounce possessions, a lot of possessions, or not need so much stuff. Renouncing status, not caring. Like what kind of car I drive doesn't define who I am as a person. So we're seeing all kinds of opening and awakening that's been there. And now it feels like it's saying, hey, and I also have a right to sit at the table and say so. So if you feel called to do that in some angle of your life, because all of this cluster is hitting your chart somewhere, and it's going to be pressuring you to step up and step out to be heard and seen in a different way, or express yourself. So in this particular chart, which I always cast for the Eastern time zone, so I cast it for New York. So the houses that I'm talking about and where the energy plays out is talking about the Eastern time zone. Possibly Central time as well if I relocated, but it's still going to shift it. So for the most part, if you're in the New York, Toronto, Montreal, Florida, somewhere in this Eastern time zone, the houses are going to fit you. And what I'm saying fits. So in this case, it's interesting because the chart has the cluster in the 8th house, which is all about sex, death, and other people's money. It's in the Scorpio house. So the stellium is awakening anything to do with issues of inheritance, other people's money. That's a huge topic. What does that even mean, other people's money? Well, that's investment money. That's money that is given to you to maybe by family, by friends. How do you use it or misuse it? That's about, the ethics of people who, what they charge for something. It's other people's money. It's looking at the ethics and the values of that. But because it's all of this Aquarius energy, maybe there's something going on in the financial sector of your life where you're reinventing or thinking about money, investing in different ways. Maybe something is awakening and opening. The other is death, the house of death, and and also inheritance, right? Makes sense there, other people's money. But when it comes to talking about life and death, this is a very deep house. This is where all the family baggage comes out. This is where anything hidden or taboo comes out in the eighth house. So if it's talking about the stellium of planets in Aquarius talking about death, well, maybe we're thinking about life and death in a new way. Maybe something is, I hate talking about this, but in a way, because so many people are ill and dying at this time with COVID. But because that's happening, is it making you think about life and death any differently? Is it making you think about how you would like things to happen for you when it's your turn? Is it signifying that there's a lot of people that need to revamp the way we deal with it? Is it signifying that we need more help to help people deal with their emotions around it? Does it mean that we need more new ways or new types of practitioners, or to open the door to, I don't know, maybe doulas or Reiki practitioners, or just some other help in that arena to help with the load of all the people who are passing and grieving, and or dealing with inheritance and investment money, or dealing with properties, or all kinds of stuff that goes on with other people's money. And then, of course, the sexuality part. With Aquarius in the house of sexuality, everything gets really kinky. Things are very intellectualized and detached from emotion. It plays out as sometimes like fetishy kind of energy with Aquarius in the eighth house. So with a whole cluster of planets there, dare I say, everybody has been cooped up a long time and sort of lonely and needing to connect, and maybe repressed or built up, and all kinds of things can be expressed, or all kinds of interesting ways of satisfying that side of you, or maybe opening your mind to look at yourself on that level. It could be sexual identity, but it could also be just this whole, surgence of dating online, or maybe matchmaking online, or it's all about being open to whatever is taboo and quirky, to whatever is innovative and not outside, not traditional. And it's about saying, oh, well, I guess that's okay as long as nobody's getting hurt. But if I'm looking at the chart as if it were a person and I saw that kind of cluster in the eighth house, I would know that I'm dealing with someone who has a lot of sexual issues and trauma, and probably a lot of baggage and taboos that they're working through. So doesn't mean that applies to everybody in the Eastern Seaboard, but we might see that play out in the energy, whether it's you dealing with it, whether it's a friend presenting it to you, whether it's someone you're dating that shows up with it, whether you're learning lessons about it, whether it's comes up on the news once again in some way. It's in the air. Now, because that cluster is so intense, we take a look, what is it aspecting? And it's aspecting Mars and Uranus. This is not easy. This is not easy at all. Mars is officially squaring Saturn, Jupiter, and Venus. Mars square Saturn is a classic example of not letting yourself get what you want. Mars, one guy who's an astrologer explained this to me so well once. He said he had Mars square Saturn in his chart, and he said to me, it's like every time I desire something, Saturn comes along and raps me across the knuckles and says, no, you can't have it. Because Saturn will contain and control and restrict and structure. And Mars is like, oh, I want this now. I'm going to go grab. And Saturn does go, wait a second, don't grab so fast. Don't grab in that way. Have some self-control. So you have this push-pull between desire and control. And it's in Taurus and Aquarius, both very strong, both very stubborn, both want what they want. So what does that mean for us? Well, it could mean some power struggles in those areas. Power struggles around sexuality, power struggles or denying yourself when it comes to other people's money. So arguing over money, possibly. When it comes to death, tougher to say. With Mars squared Jupiter, Venus, Saturn in the house of death, I would say, well, we could see a lot of people angry about how people are being treated in elderly care or who are in palliative care, or how people have honored or mishonored people who have passed or are passing. That could be coming up. We also have Uranus in Taurus, which is a long-term influence. It's in Taurus for a few years more. So, as I mentioned before, Uranus and Taurus is like this earthquake kind of feeling that passes through. Uranus is not comfortable in Taurus. Taurus likes things stable, and Uranus is like a erratic lightning bolt. Uranus rules Aquarius. It likes to be quirky and unconventional and unpredictable. And you put it in like a very predictable, thank you very much sign, and you get rumbling, like rumbling under the earth. Like, I want to keep this stable, but it's going, no, 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 no. And it tries to break and bust through the earth. So you get this struggle kind of thing with Uranus and Taurus, shaking things up in a very profound way. Things that we counted on, things that we thought were stable, things that we thought were locked in place that are not. So it's squaring off officially with the Sun, the Moon, and Mercury. And Uranus square the Sun and Moon could also be, again, very just unpredictable, moody behavior. Uranus and Mars together can be pretty fiery, pretty temperamental. It could blast off and do something amazing and productive, or it could like blast and have a major temper tantrum. So honestly, the new moon is tomorrow. I'm forecasting this here on the 10th. I'm not getting a feeling of any volatile craziness coming up, but the chart sort of says it, that it's in the air. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because sometimes the chart, it shows like the raw information of what could happen. And then above and beyond the chart analysis, I psychically tap into what do I feel the vibe is for this new moon. And I get a feeling of renewal and of moving forward, and like a catalyst or a kickstart to go forward. So I might be responding positively to that kickstart, the positive Mars Uranus. Let's go stir some stuff up. Let's go get some stuff done. Let's do it quickly. Let's not hesitate. Let's express ourselves. But other people might be feeling it as a threat, and so they try to suppress it. So that's in the air as well. Now, the other interesting thing is we have Pluto making a trine, which is happy, a good aspect. Pluto is supporting that Mars. It's still in Capricorn. So Pluto trine Mars, again, gives, to me, would say, focus on that Mars energy in Taurus, that let's go get her done. Let's be practical. Let's be productive. Let's build this. Let's pour that foundation. Let's get the taxes done early. Let's cook up a storm. Let's really enjoy. Let's go outside and let's feel the snow, or feel whatever, the tulips if you're lucky enough in the West Coast. Let's enjoy it. Let's feel it. Let's go out and do it. It's very physical with Taurus. It's practical. It's getting stuff done. Pluto supports that. Instead of this Aquarius stuff, which is very strong, which is rebelling against it. So if I had to look at this chart and say, well, what do we do with all of this, potentially conflictual air, energy in the air, I would say focus on getting down to business and do practical stuff and get stuff done, and try to avoid getting into too many heavy discussions or arguments, or as soon as you disagree and it's clear you both disagree, just let go, because it's that kind of vibe that could bring you into the aggravated side, the fighting side of stuff. If it's a lively debate, you're both enjoying it, could open your mind, could break you free, could make you mad, but could open your mind. Well, you can stick with it. But if it's really solid, dense, they're not budging, you're not budging, I would say try to let go, try to just pull back, try to just focus on some practical matters and get them done. All right, let's go to the cards now and see what else the cards might tell us about this new moon. And let's just burn some sage first. It's all ashes. I thought it was a leaf. Alrighty, here we go. So I just want you to say some sort of prayer or wish for yourself for 2021, for the year of the ox. I'm going to wish that everybody finds a sense of solidity and purpose, and that everybody feels very grounded and takes good self-care and takes their time in their relationship bonds to deepen their relationships. I'm just going to clean, smudge the cards. Okay. So we'll do 9 cards for this new moon. All right, so our first card is the 5 of Pentacles, which is the worry card. I don't usually focus a lot on what does that mean, because it just tells me that everyone's very worried. So if you find you're dealing with anxiety and worrying about stuff, then it would just be a message to try to find a way to calm your anxiety or to confront whatever it is you're worried about, to take action. Second card is the 3 of Wands. That's nice. It's an Aries card, so it's about putting yourself first in a good way. So step back and think about putting yourself first. What do you need to do to take care of yourself right now? Think about yourself. It's not being selfish, it's to have self-care. Any of you who are typically givers, you need this card. You need to pull back every so often and go, okay, that's what they want, that's what they need, and that's what I can give. But what do I need and what do I want? And how can I take care of myself? What do I need to do for my own self-care right now? Temperance. Well, everything is about timing with Temperance. It's the witch. She's pouring things into the cauldron. She's mixing her ingredients. It's like any kind of recipe where things have to be added little by little. One thing is added, and then it has a reaction with another, and then other things are mixed and they have a reaction. And it's a slow and steady card again, which keeps coming up for this year. Think about this year as mixing a recipe and try to be at peace that it might go a little slower than you would like. Some signs, obviously, you're not going to like things going slow, and others are going to be very happy that it's a little calmer and slower. The Sun, very nice. So I would say if you focus on trusting that there is a divine timing to things, there's a divine order to things. No matter how hard you work, sometimes you can't make things happen any faster. It just takes the time it takes, and it's nobody's fault. Then you get to the Sun card, which would be, a feeling of success and joy, taking pleasure in things, being playful. To me, this is definitely about, being playful and getting outside if you can, enjoying your children if you have them or if they're around you. If you're not around kids or have your own, then it would be to connect to your own inner child. So maybe you want to watch movies you used to love as a kid, or resume some hobby that you used to like as a kid. Try to connect to that inner child side of you for healing. The next card is the King of Cups. So that's a nice man who's around, very caring, sensitive, romantic when he's in love, able to make commitments. He's emotional. Sometimes he thinks about the past a lot. He would probably be somebody that comes into your life, if he's not here already, who's very loving and nurturing. Next card is the Emperor. So it's interesting. You've got two men side by side. The Emperor is more like a father kind of figure, a provider, or a boss, or a government official. Sometimes it does represent government or companies or corporations. It's like a powerful, power man. So this could also come up this year, whether that's issues around your dad, issues around authority. It doesn't have to be unpleasant. It just means that, your dad or your boss or your grandfather, maybe it's a husband who's very strong, but this strong presence is around, this masculine energy. And, he's a little harder to deal with than the King of Cups. The King of Cups is more like, an easygoing guy, a nice hug. The Emperor is very powerful. So he has things he's in charge of and responsibilities, and he can have control issues. Our next card is the Eight of Discs. So that is another nice card. It's like slow and steady growth again. Prudence. This card means sort of, like it shows planting a seed, and slowly the stalk gets higher and the leaves grow and they curl and then they uncurl and then there's a flower, and everything is a process, very, very slow and steady. So basically the message in these cards so far is that you must accept that some things come slowly in life, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Our impatience is the problem. Judging things that go slowly is the problem. Do you sit there with a tomato plant and go, oh, you're growing really slow. Like it's not, it shouldn't be that way. Like, why can't you germinate faster? Like, come on. It's ridiculous, right? We accept when it comes to nature that there's a process and things take certain steps and certain alchemy, and we accept it with animals, but we don't accept it with humans. Humans were like, oh, come on, hurry up already. How come we couldn't figure that out? So whatever you've got in mind that you're trying to manifest right now or work on, just accept that it's going to go a little slower. And if anybody gives you problem with that, then you just don't bother sharing it with them. You need people that are patient and kind. And, that could be one way that the King of Cups versus the Emperor shows up, is like, you need the King of Cups. You need somebody who's like, yeah, you know what? Today was a hard day, but you'll start again tomorrow. You'll get there. Whereas the Emperor would be like, can you get that done now? Oh, okay. So control versus support, and moving steady and slow. And we have the Fool. Lovely. A brand new beginning and a fresh vision, a dream, a flash of the future, a vision of what you really want, something new on the horizon. If you get that feeling around this new moon, please build that up into more detail, write it down, put up a collage, put up stuff on your desktop if you want, bring the vision clearer and closer to you. And finally, very nice, other people's money. 10 of coins. 10 of coins, 10 of discs is often investment money, a loan. If you're in Canada, could be another check for help, bailouts for business. It could be, it's too early for taxes, investment money coming in. Sometimes it's inheritance money coming in. Sometimes it's just, hey, friend, I could loan you this if you need that. There's money coming. So other people's money is a interesting theme for this reading, isn't it? And you might access other people's money. You might be responsible for other people's money. If you were given other people's money, then you need to respect it and, have gratitude for it. All right, let's go into the readings for the signs, and we're going to talk about one card for how is your year of the ox going to go. And why is my screen going black? There we go. Okay. Sorry. Mercury retrograde is still playing with technology and with computers, I find lately. So let's take a look now at the signs and how is your year of the ox going to go. All right, so Aries, year of the ox. So you have the Six of Swords. So your year looks like a strategic year. The swords would be like a metal card as well. A sword could be, it could be yang if it's a really thick medieval looking sword. But if it's one of those fencing swords, it's longer and skinnier and it could bend a little bit, that would be more like a yin kind of metal. And, swords, this card can also sometimes mean like surgeries or like a surgical energy, meaning like super planning, being very detailed, very precise, setting up a plan, writing down a budget, everything is, and it's a Mercury and Aquarius card. So it's sort of like, again, being innovative, but also being extremely precise about what you want and writing it all down and planning it and thinking about every detail almost surgically. Some cases, this card might actually be minor surgeries, but it's minor surgeries. It's not major stuff. And usually the card has a very clean, clear feeling, like precision, in and out, clean, clear. It doesn't have a messy, sick feeling to it. It's got a very, this I will remove by. So that's the energy going on in your life too. Filtering and looking at everything. And, this I want. Yes. This I don't want. Precision. Very interesting message for you, Aries. All right, let's look at Taurus now. All right, Taurus. So your card is interesting because it's sort of like a Taurus card. So you have the King of Coins, King of Discs. So this gives me a feeling that you're asking yourself about, your stability, your ability to be a provider. He's got a horse, he's got his armor, he's got his helmet with a stag or a deer on the top of it. He's standing in a field of wheat in the sun. He has his weapon there. He's got everything he needs. He looks like a guy who's fought in his battle and battle's over and now he's enjoying his land. So you might be thinking about moving. You might be thinking about, do I want to live more on the land? Do I want to buy land? Do I want to move somewhere where I'm closer to nature or a park? This could be a guy like this who shows up in your life. If it is, again, it's a guy who moves slowly. He's serious, he's kind, he's calm, he's patient, but he moves slowly. So you can't expect anything to happen too quickly with him. If he's around your life as a financial investor or as your boss, or you could meet him as your lover, you marry him, or he could represent you. But this is the overall quality, is like a very reliable, steady, solid guy financially and emotionally. And he goes slowly and he doesn't open up easily, but when he does, he's very loyal. So I find this is interesting. It might be something that you're trying to achieve, wondering how do I achieve that kind of vibe in my life, or how do I meet somebody like this in my life? and if you're the Taurus, maybe it is you and you're the one providing. But it overall gives me a feeling that this is a good year for Taurus, even though Uranus is moving through. You're smart. You'll figure things out. You're always resourceful. You'll find ways to still secure yourself and have a comfortable life. And the ox is an earth sign and Taurus is an earth sign. Taurus doesn't mind it if things get slower and more steady. Taurus doesn't mind if we stop and smell the flowers. So this energy works well with you. All right, let's go to Gemini. Gemini, year of the ox. We have more swords, 5 of swords. So the 5 of swords says defeat. So I don't get a feeling of, a whole year of defeat, obviously. But what I do feel is this is a card of usually arguing and conflicts. And it's an Aquarius card again. Go figure. Let me just double check that. Yeah, Venus in Aquarius. So we have Venus in Aquarius right now. So what is Venus in Aquarius? Well, Venus is our desires and what we want, what kind of woman we like, our feminine side. So this is sort of like Venus in Aquarius is like a sort of like a rebellious chick, She likes to provoke. She is not shy to speak her mind, mouth off, protest something. And she likes to rebel. She likes to shock a little bit. She likes to stand out by being different in a way that triggers people. She enjoys the conversations and the arguments that brings sometimes. So I don't get a feeling that you're enjoying arguing. I get a feeling that there's people around you where you might feel drawn into arguing or debating. And the 5 of swords is basically when there's too many ideas, too many cooks in the kitchen, too many people vying for different things, different concepts, different ways of looking at stuff. And it meets in the middle, but then it has a downward pentagram on the card. So you're talking about arguments that go in the direction of people trying to power trip each other. So there's not a true meeting of minds. Usually this card means somebody has to walk away, break up, be fired. If it's in your entourage in any way, you're just going to want to walk away from arguing. I would say, Gemini, like that card to me means that this year you might have some dramas with people around you who are trying to draw you into conflicts. If it's you drawing yourself into the conflicts, then you have to look for that tendency. Am I creating conflicts, creating arguments, throwing logs on the fire that make more conflicts? And if you can say, no, I'm not, and you're surrounded by people who are, then I'd say it's a year of letting them go and walking away and stopping the drama. Because again, the ox doesn't have any patience for that. You're not interested in drama. All right, Cancers, let's look for you. Yikes. Well, look at that. The death card for Cancer. Well, I'm a Cancer, and that doesn't scare me, actually. That sort of makes me optimistic, and I'll tell you why. The death card, it means a rebirth. It means a sudden shock, something that ends that you didn't expect. But it always brings something better than you expected. So if I have a plan, if I had plans and the rug is pulled out and I feel like I don't know what to do. I don't even, like, I'm disoriented. I was so sure my plans would happen. It's like a death. But the death card means that something else would be offered to you. Some other opportunity would open up very quickly. So the death card isn't this prolonged, awful thing. It's a shock, and then it's a surprise. And the surprise is better than what you had planned. That's sort of cool. So don't be scared of this. Somewhere in your year, there might be a bit of a shock or surprise or a reversal or a 180 or a, that changes your life, but it's going to change it for the better. Very interesting. All right, let's take a look for Leo. You have the Witch card again, the Temperance card. So remember what we said about mixing things bit by bit, creating a recipe, baking a cake, alchemy, a laboratory. You have to think about life this year as everything will fall into place as it's meant to. Everything has a divine order. If you can adopt a more balanced mindset towards the way you want life to go, that some things have to happen before they mix with other things. Some steps have to happen before others happen. You're not in control of that whole process. You can just recognize it and participate in and add little bits in and add little bits in, and then other people add little bits in, and eventually you get to what you wanted. So definitely it's a year of experimenting and trying new things out to see what happens. It's a creative kind of card, creative and experimental, and just a card of patience. Just don't be in any big bloody hurry this year. All right, let's look at Virgo. Nice, the Fool card for Virgo. Very nice. A nice new beginning on the horizon for you. So I hope, Virgo, that you feel you've got a nice, clear idea of how you see your life. And yeah, we're still in limbo with the pandemic, with vaccines, with not being able to leave the house or not being able to travel quite yet, but that doesn't stop you from getting clarity on your vision. So I want you to have a good idea to visualize. What do you see for yourself? What would you like? What's your new life going to look like? What's your new chapter going to be? Really build it in detail. Like you're good at details. So if you can write down or again, do a vision board, collect articles or photos or whatever, anything that keeps your inspiration alive for a new vision of a new life. You're at the precipice of a new chapter, a big new chapter, and that's exciting. And as I said, earth energy, Capricorn energy and ox is earth, and you are an earth sign. So this earthy kind of year is going to support you quite well. And even that it's yin, like feminine and metal, is also very supportive of Virgo because Virgo is a feminine sign and it likes to tinker around and build things and make things with your hands, or it likes all the little details. It likes how flexible that metal would be, the intricacies of what you could do with it. So I think for Virgo that this is going to be a good year. All right, Libra. Oh, nice. Okay. So your card is the Strength card. So you might find that you're looking for your strength, or you might feel already that you're stronger than you've ever been. Look at how strong the sun is shining at the top. That wand has the sun, and at the bottom it has the moon in Sagittarius. And those other wands are behind it, standing behind it like support. So it's like the sun wand here has a team. There's a team behind you of people that are in your corner and support you. And you need to either build that team, figure out who those people are, invite them, initiate them, find your team, find your people who have your back and your support, and create that strength to draw from. And then you can face anything that's going on with you this year. So Libra is, an air sign. We've got all these air planets in Aquarius. That supports you. But Aquarius is your fifth house, which is creativity, self-expression, romance, children. That could be a big factor right now going on with this new moon. Stuff to do with your kids, if you have them. Again, that inner child side. But the main thing here with the Strength card is you have to find it in yourself to also build that team. You can't just sit there and go, oh no, oh well, I hope they come. You have to reach out and ask. You have to say, hey, I need your support. Would you help me with, and you will have them. You'll have them. They'll line up and you'll have that support, whatever it is, if it's business, if it's, emotional support that you need. It's time to say, hey, and ask. Now, that's an interesting Libra message there. Okay. Let's take a look for Scorpio now. And you've got the Eight of Swords. So again, we've got more metal with these swords. And the metal is all different shapes. The Eight of Swords is all about overanalyzing. Jupiter in Gemini, you've taken on way too many things on your plate. There's either too many people in your life that you can't manage, too much work on your plate you can't manage, too many conflicting ideas. Maybe the people around you are just like, everybody is just coming from a completely different perspective and your head is just going, I can't process all of this. It also is possible that it's you pondering over too many what if, maybe I should, what if. Jupiter and Gemini, just like ideas and possibilities on, times 100. And your brain can't keep up. So what happens? It's called interference. You end up harming yourself. This can be a mental health kind of card in terms of like your own mind is your own worst enemy. Imploding in on yourself, crapping on yourself, being too critical. But mainly it's to think about and work on any negative self-speak. If you're not nice to yourself, the way you talk to yourself. And it's to eliminate whatever is overwhelming you with too many possibilities or too many people around. So the ox here will be a time of like eliminating some things and calming your life down, simplifying and eliminating. Interesting. All right, Sagittarius. You have the Lovers. Well, look at that. Partnerships this year. Love relationships, close friends, business partnerships, creative potential, closer friends, feeling like you've met, maybe your twin flame, your soulmate, if you believe in those things. Karmic or relationships, people that fit together, that match, even if they're contradictory or seem opposite. People that come together despite their differences, despite, their polarities. They find a way to merge in the middle. Very nice. Very nice for you. So this year, I would say the ox year is a lot about relationships and deepening the ones you have, making amends or forming new unions, and And, you know, it's not about like, oh, be careful and discern. It's more like you find a good match and you work out the differences. You work out the compromises until there's a lovely, you know, marriage of opposites there, like a blessed union. And, you know, it can be romance, but it could also be a very close friend. It could also be with your child. It could be with, you know, a colleague or business partner, but it's just this energy of like, okay, this really fits, this really works. So let's work on it to make it as best as we can. Let's examine these dualities of each other, our dark side, our light side. Let's commit to looking deeper at this union. Otherwise, you step into the duality side of the lovers or the Gemini energy where you're just like, I don't know, is it that? I'm not sure. Are they? And then, you know, and that's like the old 3D way of looking at life. If you're looking as an ascended energy at this card, then it's not about duality, like are they Jekyll or Hyde? No, they're both. They're both. We're all shadow and light. And so it's like being with others who can say, this is my shadow and this is my light, and I'm conscious of a lot of it, or I'm working on it, you know, and you bring to the table your shadow and light, and this is who I am, and this is what I'm working on. And then you don't get the duplicitous kind of confusing Jekyll and Hyde-ness of a duality. I'd say overall, the ox here could bring you some love or some very nice unions. So that's lovely. Some big changes on your horizon, I think, Sag. All right, let's look at Capricorn. And your card is the Ace of Wands. You're on fire. Yeah. I hope you're feeling that big flame. I hope you're feeling that much energy. Lucky you. Maybe you are. All those Aquarian planets are hitting your second house, which means money. Money is emphasized for Capricorn. Certainly right now and for the next little while until that stellium is gone. But there's still going to be a cluster in Aquarius for a while. So money, the second house is all about the money you earn, not other people's. It's like, how do I make money? What am I going to do to make money? So you might be feeling like a really intense wave of ambition right now towards something that you want. A big boost of energy, a big push towards what you want. You know, Capricorn is the ox, their equivalent in Chinese. So even if you're not compatible with the ox year and you're a Capricorn, that energy is still working with you. It's very much, you know, strong, resilient, sturdy, get her done, plow on for the long haul, you know, put up with whatever comes up, wants to get to its goal. But again, you know, patience. But this card isn't patient at all. But if you're ready to be really super productive, especially when it comes to your financial side, and you have an idea or a goal or a project or a new business in mind, I would go for it. I would say the ox year could bring some nice relief for Capricorn. You've had Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter there and in your sign for over a year, couple of years for Saturn, and it's gone, man. It's finally this feeling of being restricted and tested is gone. So you're gonna fly this year. The Ace of Wands is like, it's, you know, somebody lets you out of the gate and you can run. So I think that's one for you. All right, let's look at Aquarius. Why do I always sing it? I don't know, but I do. All right. Aquarius, your card is the Hanged Man. Well, that's what happens when all the planets move into your sign. People go, oh, it's my sign. It's all in my sign. It's going to be good. Ask Capricorn. It's not always, is it? When everything's in your sign, it puts pressure on you. It can create like an identity crisis. It can create a pressure to perform, or it can show you a highlight whatever's going wrong as well. And what's going right. It's both. When it comes to Saturn, Saturn comes along like it is in your sign right now, and it says, how you doing with that lesson down there? Oh, yeah. Oh, great. You learned that one. Great. Okay, so you're rewarded. You earned it. Oh, that one you didn't learn, so no, you're still in purgatory with that one until you learn. That's how Saturn feels on your sign. You also have Jupiter there too. Jupiter in your sign for a year brings you some luck. So it's a mixed bag. But the Hangman card for your year just basically means that things are slow and steady. But this is even slower than an ox. This still feels like living day by day. There's sacrifices with the Hangman. Usually we don't want to make those sacrifices. It's things that we feel that are, well, yeah, we just feel like we're sacrificing something of our freedom, of our time, of giving up something that we'd actually want in situations that make us sort of stay put. And on a day-to-day basis, you're giving something. But the Hangman doesn't give it in vain. It's a spiritual ascension card. So in the process of this sacrifice, whatever you're giving, you can see that above the horizon is the Ankh, the Egyptian sign for past lives, and then all of this light. So he's not just restricted and imprisoned for nothing. He's doing it to reach some sort of enlightenment. So this is again a slow, steady year of learning, of things going bit by bit. But you're going to find that by the end of this year, you've made some sort of spiritual awakening. You will have insight and realize things on a very deep level, and it comes very slowly. But when it does, the light bulb goes on and it gives you peace. So again, it's whatever you feel you're living through, if it feels like it's never ending, that's the Hangman. Try to look back to the beginning of this situation that you're in and try to really see how far it has come and how your life has changed and how your mindset or even your personality has changed since before this event, before this started happening. You have to take a look at, wow, look at all the progress. Look at how much I have shifted because of this. And take a look forward and go, okay, and it's still on. There's more that I have to keep doing, but I'm going to keep shifting. And by the time we're done and I look back, I'm going to go, wow, look at how far I've come. That's the process that you're in. And finally, let's look at the Pisces. 4 of discs. Very nice. Power, structure, stability. It goes along with the Capricorn again. Sun in Capricorn goes along with the ox, goes along with, nice and slow, taking our time, building a foundation. That goes very well with Pisces too. Pisces don't want everything crazy and rushing and all over the place. So you're going to find yourself feeling more rooted and more secure. And if you're happy in your home, you might find yourself even happier there. You might do some work to it, or there might be some nice people that show up, new neighbors. You might be planting new trees. I don't know. There's something of abundance that feels nice around your home this year. And if you're not in a home like that, or a place that doesn't feel like home, then it's time to get one. To me, this card feels very much like you need a happy home. You need a rooted, stable, solid, I am home. I love where I live. And the people will always be around you. You always have people in your life. So focus on where is the best environment for me. Where am I getting my security and validity? I'm hearing where you feel validated. Where do you feel the best? What environment? And put yourself there. You might need to move, relocate, alter your space. This could be playing out in your work as well. If your home is fine, you need to feel like you're at home, and there's nothing left to do except enjoy people, entertain, cook, paint, whatever you like to do. You need that structure and security. No more sacrificing or feeling like you're going without. As much as you possibly can, bring that security and stability to you so you can create. Well, quite interesting messages today. I'm feeling optimistic about this year. I feel I'm getting, messages that we're going to see things opening up in society again by the spring or early summer. We're going to see more people successfully vaccinated and more mobility, more moving around, more maybe not perfectly wide open, back to normal, flip a switch and it's back to what we were in 2019. I don't think so. But I don't really get a feeling of like, I feel we're going to move out of the lockdowns and into a new way of being. Maybe we still wear masks in stores, but we can still go out to a restaurant. Maybe we can go to a concert or get on a plane because there's a rapid COVID test. I feel like that's coming. I don't know about 2021, but it's coming. The rapid testing so that we can have weddings and have parties and have restaurants open and get on board and fly. It's going to come back this year. And vaccinations as well. It's the ox. It's slow and steady and stable. So everybody, is going to be getting mad. How come? And everyone wants like an instant miracle solution, but something like this is such a huge global thing. There's no way anybody was going to solve it perfectly or quickly. So just, do your best to be part of the slow and steady recovery after 2020. And, we're still going to be spending lots of time working at home and working online. Even if society opened tomorrow and they said, oh, COVID's gone, there would still be a lot of people who have become introverted and anxious and socially awkward during this time, or it's going to just take a while socially for us to get used to being out and about and how it feels and trusting people. But at the same time, the nice thing is that a lot of people want to find deeper relationships than we have in a while. A lot of people are more grounded and more aware that they want affection and companionship, and they're able to be more present and listen, and intimacy. They want more intimacy. I think it's awakened everybody that we've been under quarantine for so long. It's shown us our priorities, and from there we can have more successful relationships with people and communities. So I feel very optimistic for 2021. I hope you do too. And we'll be back again for the full moon in a couple of weeks. So I hope this new moon video helps you. And if you want a reading with me, private session, you can message me in the comments or go to river-rain.info.